Okay, welcome to our first notes in quite a while. This is our 8th and final unit on simplifying rational expressions. Now, what we're going to do is pretty much take everything we have learned this entire semester and use it all in one problem. And that, in the beginning, can seem kind of daunting. But you'll see as you go through, you'll get the hang of it. So the first couple questions may seem, something you've seen before. Like example number 1 says to simplify that problem. Let's straighten it out here. So we've done this when we worked with exponents. We've been able to simplify these things. Remember that when you're dividing with exponents, you divide your numbers and then subtract your exponents to the bigger side. So this is a rational expression. There's no equal sign. That's why it's called an expression. And it's rational because it's a fraction. So this is a rational expression that we're going to simplify. By dividing the numbers, the bigger number goes on top, so 12 divided by 6 goes on top. The x's are bigger on the bottom, so the x will go on the bottom. 3 minus 2 is 1. And the y's are bigger on top. 5 minus 1 is 4. And that's as simple as it's going to get. 2y to the 4th over x to the 1st. Simplifying that expression. So the second one can be done, it says try this, but we're just going to go along here and do it together. We can simplify this. 15 divided by 10, well 15 divided by 10 does not actually divide into it, so all we're going to do is just reduce it. 15 tenths, if we reduce it, reduces to 3 over 2. The a's, however, since they are the same, will actually cancel out. And then the b's are bigger on top. 6 minus 3 is 3, and that is your answer. So that's pretty much the only thing that should be fairly simple. Now we're going to get into some stuff where we're going to combine a lot of things that we already know. So as we look at example number 2, it says to simplify 5a plus 10 over 5a. Now, you can't just go ahead and just start canceling things. I can't just go like this and cancel that. That doesn't work. Okay? You can only cancel things when you have common factors, and we'll talk about that. Let me erase that. So, to find common factors, you're going to need to actually factor whatever you can. So, in this first problem, I can factor something in this problem. Maybe not on the bottom, but I can factor something on the top. On the top, I can see I can pull out a common factor. So let's look at 5a plus 10. If I go like this, I can pull out a common factor. With the 5 and the 10, I can pull out a 5. So I'm going to take out a 5, parenthesis, and then write the leftovers. Remember doing this. 5 divided by 5 is 1a, or just a. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So I'm left with 5 times parenthesis a plus 2 over 5a. Now you have common factors, and now I can cancel those common factors out, leaving me with a plus 2 over a. That is that rational expression simplified. Okay, so what did we do? Okay, what was different here? Step 1 is, let me zoom in closer so I can write better. Okay, factor. And you factor anything you can. Sometimes you'll factor the top, sometimes it's only the bottom, sometimes it's both top and bottom. So you want to factor out whatever you can. Next step, what we did is we canceled common factors. Okay, cancel any common And the last step says state restrictions. Now, we'll talk about restrictions tomorrow or in class. I'm not going to worry about stating any restrictions right now. We'll talk about that later. All I want you to do is be able to simplify these first. Then we can talk about restrictions. So, here's an example of a problem that we need to simplify. And you'll notice that you can factor the top and the bottom. On the top should be fairly simple to factor. Okay? I can pull out a common factor, which is 7. So on the top, if I pull out a 7, I'll have 7, parenthesis. 7 divided by 7 is 1s, or just s. And then negative 28 divided by 7 is minus 7. So all I did on that top was divide out a 7. Divided both terms by 7. The bottom, though, is the unit that we just came from. So taking s squared plus 3s minus 28 and factoring that. But remember what factor means in quadratic equations. When it says factor in a quadratic equation, like the bottom is, that means ABC method. So we already have the top. So I'm going to go over here, though, and do ABC for the bottom so I can figure out what the bottom is. So the bottom, so A is 1, B is 3, C is negative 28. When I do, let's slide this over. When I do A times C, I get negative 28. B is 3. I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 28 and add to be 3. If you guessed that the factors are 7 and negative 4, then you're correct. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28, and 7 plus a negative 4 is 3. So, now that we have our factors, can we do a shortcut? Yes, we can do the shortcut because our A is 1. So I'm going to draw my dead cartoon eyes, which is your parentheses with X's in them. Bring down my factors, which is positive 7 and negative 4. That is a quadratic equation factored. So now I'm going to bring these over. X, let's see, it's not X. I don't know why. Switching to an X. Those are supposed to be S's. And I already messed up. Jeez. Here I am. Already messed up all this. Anyways, these are supposed to be S's. So this is supposed to be S plus 7 and S minus 4. And I just realized that this top one is not S minus 7. When you divide 28 by 7, that is supposed to be 4. This is supposed to be 4. There you go. Nobody caught it. Jeez. Okay. So now, once we have factored the top and the bottom, we can now cancel out any common factors. If you notice that on the top, we have S minus 4, and on the bottom, we also have S minus 4. Those are common factors that we can cancel out. So I can actually cancel out these common factors, leaving me with the answer 7, which is still on top, over S plus 7. Okay. I want you to just try and do, attempt to do the next problem on your own. You can go and pause the video, try to do it, see if you can get it correct, and then we'll go over the problem together. The top is a quadratic, so you're going to factor that. You need to do ABC. But on the bottom, you're going to, it's also a quadratic, but you can take out a GCF first, then do ABC. So factor each side as if it were a completely separate problem, and then put them back together. Okay, so let's look at this step by step. We're going to do the top part first. I'm going to do this in different colors, and it helps to do it in different colors just so you know where everything is. I'm going to do the bottom half here. I'm going to do this one in red and the top one in blue. So let's factor out a GCF. You notice that I can take a GCF out first. I can take out a 2 right away. So I'm going to take out a 2. That leaves me with x squared minus 4. Now I can do ABC with what's in the parentheses. So A is 1, B, there is no B, so it's 0, and C is negative 4. So when I do A times C is negative 4 and B is 0, I need two numbers that when multiplied would give me negative 4, but add to be 0. Okay. If you got 2 and negative 2, then you're correct. If you can do the shortcut, yes, you can do the shortcut. The shortcut, because your A is 1, is the dead cartoon eyes. And bring down your factors. Remember that 2 we factored out in the very beginning? It needs to be attached. So that's the bottom. We've done the bottom part. So if we want to write our kind of final answer over here, I now on the bottom have 2, x plus 2. Actually, you know what? Let's do the final answer in black. So here's our final answer. 2, at least for the bottom, x plus 2, and then x minus 2. Now I'm going to do the top. The top one here is going to be in blue. I'm going to factor that one. Okay, A is 1, B is negative 2, and C is negative 8. When I do A times C, I get negative 8, and then B is negative 2. I need two numbers that when multiplied would give me negative 8, but then add to be negative 2. If your answer was negative 4 and 2, then you are correct. So now, since I can do the shortcut here, dead cartoon eyes, the x's in them, bring down my factors of negative 4 and positive 2. So there's my factors. So now we're going to bring them down. Write this in black. Here, x minus 4 and x plus 2. The last step is then to cancel out any common factors. And it looks like the x plus 2's are common. So I'm going to cancel them out. So what that leaves me with is x minus 4 on top, and then 2 times x minus 2 on the bottom. And that is that rational expression simplified. Okay? Alright. Last type of problem here is a problem where the bottom, well, it doesn't have to be the bottom, but where part of your expression, the top part should be easy. You should be able to factor that, just do ABC. But the bottom part here is backwards. It's got the x squared on the right and the number on the left, it's backwards. Now, because this is a negative x squared, okay, one real easy thing that you can do is take out a negative. Because we don't like negative x squareds, this is backwards here, and you see that you have a negative x squared. So a real easy fix is to simply just pull out a negative. And all that really does is puts a negative out here, but the important part is it switches your signs so that we have a positive x squared. So to show you that, I'm going to, we'll worry about the top here in a second, but I'm going to go over this bottom part first. So, the bottom part, all we're going to do is we're going to pull out a negative, and let's make that a color here, blue. We're going to pull out a negative, and what that means is now we'll have a negative 16, but a positive x squared, which is way easier to deal with. And the really, really nice thing about this is it's not in the right order, right? We need our x squared first. So literally you can just flip-flop these. You can flip-flop them. Now it's important that you flip-flop them after you've pulled out the negative, because that's where mistakes happen. So take out the negative so that your x squared is a positive x squared, then just flip-flop the numbers. So what it looks like now is a negative on the outside, but the x squared's first, then the negative 16. Then you can go ahead and do your A, B, C. And I don't know why I just did A equals B, but A, B, and C. That negative doesn't really do anything. It just kind of drags along with the problem. So A is 1, B is 0, C is negative 16. A times C is negative 16, B is 0. I need two numbers that when multiplied would give me negative 16 and add to be 0. We should have gotten 4 and negative 4. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. Now, you could do a shortcut because your A is 1, which is the dead cartoon eyes, and I didn't want to do that in black. X, bring down your factors, which is positive 4 and negative 4. So there's the bottom. That negative that you factored out in the very beginning just gets tacked on. So here, and I'm going to see if I can highlight it at all. Nope. We're just going to remember here that this is the bottom part of our fraction. So let's slide over. We'll do that in black. Here's going to be our final answer. Negative, and then x plus 4 and x minus 4. The top part should be fairly easy because you can automatically just go right into ABC. We'll do the top part in red. So A is 1, B is 1, C is negative 20. So A times C is negative 20, B is 1. Two numbers that when multiplied would be negative 20 and add to be 1. Okay, if you got 5 and negative 4, then you are correct. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. 5 plus negative 4 is 1. We can do our shortcut, which is the dead cartoon eyes. The x's in them. The factors, bring down the factors, plus 5 and then minus 4. And tack those on top. So the top part of our answer is x plus 5 and x minus 4. Cross out or cancel your common factors so that my final answer is x plus 5 and then negative x plus 4. That's it. Okay, now that's as difficult as it's going to get. Okay, I'm going to let you try one of those on your own as we move over to the next page. We'll come back to A. So let's do B together, and I think that's it. So B, you'll notice that on the top it's backwards, just like it was in the other problem. Notice how this is backwards. So, and this is a negative. Our A is negative. This is a negative x squared. It's a negative 25x squared. So remember what you can do when this is negative. Okay, you can just switch the signs by pulling out a negative. So on top, we'll do the top one, keep the consistency here. Top one in blue. I can take, we'll do this over here, a negative out, and what that does is switches the signs. So now I have a negative 1 but a positive 25x squared. Then, since it's backwards, I can simply just flip them around. Put the 25x squared first, then the minus 1. And then I can do ABC. Okay. So let's do ABC. A is 25. B, there is no B, so it's 0. And C is -1. When we do A times C, 25 times -1 is -25. And B is 0. What's going to multiply to be 25 but add to be 0? -25. Okay. Should get 5 and -5. Now, can you do the shortcut in this case? No, absolutely not. Your A is not 1. So in this particular problem, we're going to have to do the long way. So rewrite the original problem, 25x squared minus 1. Split the middle term. Into 5x and -5x. Those are our two factors. They come from the numbers that are right here. Okay, split our middle. There is no middle term, so we're going to split nothing, basically 0. And then bring down everything else. Group. And then take out a GCF. In the first problem, you can take out a 5 and an x, leaving me with 5x plus 1. The second one, I can take out a -1, leaving me with 5x plus 1. You then bring down your outside numbers, and then your inside numbers. And that is done. That's just factored. Now there was a negative way up here. There was a negative that we factored out in the first place, so that does need to be tacked on. And that is the top of our fraction factored. So let's zoom out here so we can see everything. So that's the top. So on the top, we'll do this in black. The top is 5, well, negative 5x minus 1, and then 5x plus 1. For the bottom half of the fraction, do this in red, the bottom half, you can take out a GCF right away. And you can take a GCF right away. Hey, what's a common factor? You should be able to take out a 3 and an x. So when I take out a 3 and an x, I'm left with 5x minus 1. Okay, all I did was divide both of those by 3x. So, and that's it. That's it factored. So I'm going to bring this over here and have 3x and then 5x minus 1. Cancel out any common factors, so that one and that one. What it leaves me with is negative, and then 5x plus 1 still there, and there's a 3x in the bottom. And that is it factored. Okay. Alright, that's it. If you want to try one more, just as practice, go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and try letter A here. Try this problem here. Pause it, and then you'll have the answer when you return. I'll put the answer here so you can check your work. Alright? Any questions, just message me on Canvas. Otherwise, we will be spending some time with this when you come back into class, and so you'll have we'll have some time to answer any questions. So, okay, pause in the video and then return for the answer to letter A. Alright, there's our answer. You didn't have to do anything on the top because there's nothing to factor out, so all you had to do is the bottom. When I factored the bottom, here's my factoring of the bottom. A, B, C. A times 2 is 6, B is 5, so that gave me 2 and 3 for my factors. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 plus 3 is 5. I can do the shortcut because my A is 1, so x plus 2 and x plus 3. Brought these over here. Here's the top, Here's the bottom, crossed out common factors. Since there's nothing on top, remember back in, a long time ago we talked about this, you can't have nothing on the top. So we fill it with a 1 over an x plus 3 on the bottom. That's it. Like I said, questions can come over Canvas, or jot down anything to talk about in class next time we meet. All right.